For our government housing. In fact, if you see just right behind the building, there's another red grey building at the back. That is also government housing. So for those of you who are not here in Singapore, 5% at the government housing. And I believe back in Australia, they back from where we are, I'm pretty sure you would have government housing, alright? And if you happen to be living in government housing or public housing, so it's very small, right? Because most times, government or public housing is usually meant for queue up over here, toilet over there, keep quiet, you buy ticket, that's all. Yes, I mean, okay, so basically what happens is that when you go to school, mandatory language is English, and then the second language, obviously you will go to what, you're comfortable with, which is of course for me, go for English. But I can choose to take Mandarin. Yes, okay, so I can also choose to actually not take Malay because my Malay is so good, I just take Mandarin. But of course, I still have to show that I can actually speak my own language first before they allow me to take another language. Yeah.
So is that actual instruction in that language, or is it learning the language?
Or learning the language. Learning the language, yeah. So I was telling them that here in Singapore, national language is Malay. Yeah, and why Malay? Because the history of Singapore is still part of the Malay land. Yeah, so what is interesting is that our national anthem, okay, is in Malay. We go to national service. Okay, the command in our national service is in Malay. Yeah, so technically, every race you have to learn Malay one time of their life, but you don't have to speak it regularly. Okay, right. So coming back to where we are. So I was telling you about the facilities, right? So I told you that you do have, over the private apartments, you have your swimming pool and all those things. But not forgetting, you also have your function room, which is fully air conditioned. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our function room. This is our multi-purpose hall. Okay, we don't have air conditioned, but at least we have ceiling fans. That look rusty, but it works, right? Okay, so again, ladies and gentlemen, this make it interesting again and conduct this tour because I am going to bring you right after this to one of our oldest estates, and these estates were built back in 1970. And what I need you to do as we are going along later, if you have passed by or even, very familiar with how government housing or public housing is back at home, try to remember if you've seen any building that was built before 1980s and compare the condition of those back at home and here, and you can then understand again why 85% of us are comfortable living in government housing. So let me now go through some basic facts about government housing, who can purchase it. Number one, obviously because it's government housing, it's meant for Singaporeans. Singaporeans or permanent residents. Okay, so can all of you stay in our government housing? Yes. Yes, you can. But you rent from me. And that's a good income rent. Right? Because why? If I'm going to give you an option to live in private apartments that cost you $5,000 or $4,000 a month, okay, I can offer you at $1,300 or $1,500 or even $2,000. You definitely go with me. You want to go for your swimming pool? There's other swimming pool all around. You want to go for your gym? There's private gyms. It is the reason why the government allow us to actually rent it to foreigners. But there must be a minimum occupancy when you're in Singapore for at least 6 months for you to be eligible to stay in our government housing. 6 months. Okay, so first, government housing, only Singaporeans and permanent residents can purchase. Second interesting fact, the age. Okay, you must be at least 35 years old for you to purchase the government housing. Okay? So where do you think people that are below 35 are staying? Where do you think all of us are staying?
Oh, with mom and dad.
Yes, mom and dad. Mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy go, right? I think for Westerners, right? After above the age of 20 years and above, I think minimum 20, a lot of people will tend to move and live on their own. Right? Right? It's a very common culture, but not here in Singapore. Okay, because why? Singapore's national policy on national education has always been a few things. One, racial integration, which I'll share with you a little bit more after this. Second, family bonding or family fostering. Okay? So here in Singapore, it is very common people that is single to still live with their parents till 35. So how then you going to buy a house before 35? I just gave you the hint. You need to get married. Okay? So again, national policy, family bonding, family whatever development here, right? So if you want to buy a house, the government will say, no problem, go find a partner and get married. And then you can buy a house at what age whatever you want. But you must also be wondering, Bas, why did the government give this regulation of 35? Why till 35? Because again, it's based on data and kind of current situation. Because like myself, I'm 31 this year. Okay? In terms of getting full-time or comfortable income, it's not only recently. Because why? For us men, we have to go through national service. So by the time you're done with school, you'll be taken back 2 years to go and serve your country. By the time you're out of national service, you continue your studies, you go to a full-time job, average of 25 years old. So the government gives you like a good 10 years to save up money in case that you do not choose to get married and you want to be single. You get a good amount of 10 years to save up money for you to be living comfortably in Singapore and of course to own a house. Of course, if you were to get married, you combine the income and share that with your partner. And that's the reason we have that policy. Okay? So that's the second policy. Now the third policy is that, which I will share further in detail, regardless of wherever you stay, we have a racial quota in Singapore. So here might be more familiar or much more popular among the Malay. From India might be obviously more among the Indians. Okay, but regardless of the location, we need to maintain 85% of the population of the neighborhood must be Chinese. 85%. 9% must be Indian. 9% must be Malay. 4% must be Indian. Now, if you remember my facts, the figures is not the same. I mentioned 75, 13 and 9. Why? Because those those rich people from the Malay and the Indians are taken out to go to private apartments, and that's the reason why the number adjusted. So even for example, okay, I want to sell my unit over here. Okay, I will sell my unit over here, but the racial quota for Malay is already full. I can only find a Chinese, Indian or other races to buy my flat. And that's how and what we meant by it is still controlled by the government. And that's why we call it as government housing. Okay? Questions? Good question. Okay? So mixed marriage over here, you have the ultra benefit because you can choose which race you want to go to. But it's a very, very low numbers. Yeah. Again, culture. The reason why people are not intermarrying each other because of religion. One of the major factors because of religion, which is why it's not like a big issue over here. So those that are for interracial marriage, yeah, they have the better benefit. Alright, any questions?
Is that 35 years old limitation help try to encourage people to get married? Does that policy work that way?
Works. Okay.
It works?
So I'm not sure whether okay, it does work. Okay, it does work in terms of people have the motivation to get married before 35. But the end result is different. You high divorce rate. Yes. So that is the problem that Singapore government is having. So the problem is that, okay, so another fact to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Here in Singapore, I told you right, it's own the flat. And we can do whatever we want to the flat. I can rent to you. But I only own the flat for the age of the 99 years of the building. That means I couldn't pass on to my 7th generation. Okay, assuming this flat is 1970 and I buy this flat, I'm only left with 60 years. I don't get the full 90 years. Okay, so what many young people like myself love to do is to buy a brand new flat that have a full 90 years. But the problem is, I have to wait at least 3 to 5 years, especially because of COVID, they extended to 5 and 6 years. Now, the question is, when I apply for the house, I must have already my partner. We sign the paper, but we don't have to get married as yet. But before we get the house keys, we need to get married. The problem will be 5 years, anything can happen. Right? So, the end result will be, does it work eventually? Do you eventually get the house with the same partner? Because if you choose to separate before the 5 years, you will lose the house. Yeah. So go out to the public market again. Because obviously you haven't paid for the house yet, but you will lose a certain kind of amount of money like deposit and all that. So that's the reason why it's a commitment here in Singapore. The moment you decide, because we have this scheme called the fiancé scheme. Yeah, fiancé scheme. It's literally called fiancé scheme. So the moment you choose to sign and devote yourself, okay, to the house, you are devoting yourself to your partner for the next at least 3 years. After you get the house, okay, and then you divorce, now that's a separate thing for you to fight who gets the house. Before that, most likely you will not get the house, and then your priority for the next house will go lower because you are a second timer applicant. Yeah. So is it working? Yes, it is working for motivation to buy a house early, but the end result might differ accordingly. Yeah. Right? Other questions? Yeah, there's the last two questions. Good. Okay. Okay, so I've told you, right? Government housing $500,000. Now, take that value back at home. Do you think the low income is able to afford that house? So far, have any one of you seen homeless people in Singapore? Okay, I think you will. Maybe one or two, but it's like a gem. It's like a treasure hunt. Number two, anybody have seen any street beggars in Singapore? Street beggars. Couple, but most times, again, not many. And by right, street begging in Singapore is illegal. You are not allowed to street beg. You're not allowed to street busking unless you have a kind of permission to that. How are we indirectly begging on the streets, which a lot of people tend to get a misconception, is people selling tissue to you. Yes, I think it's a common thing that you see selling tissue. Now these people that are selling tissue, they are our low-income community. But the government do not want them to beg on the streets. So what the government does is sell them part of issue where they're extremely low cost and tell them try to get a job by selling this issue. And that's indirectly another way. Homeless situation over here, good question. Houses are expensive, right? Because here in Singapore, one of the reasons kind of why government built government housing is because they wanted to promise every Singaporean a shelter, a place to stay. So if your income is too low to afford a house, you can rent. And if, for example, I'm a welfare worker, I still homeless, and I ask them, why are you living here? Because I've got no money. Okay, no problem. You have a job? Yes, you do. Okay, so I'm going to rent you a flat, for example, right? But the rental is $100 a month. But to me, it's expensive. What the government will do is find someone of the same situation and partner you guys up, of course, the same sex, and split the cost. So there are different avenues to help the low income to make sure we can keep homeless people as low or as zero as possible. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, we have been running by the same political party for the longest time, since 1959 all the way up to now. Because one of the national kind of issue has always been addressed by them. But again, younger generation might have a different thought of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the government is going to change in the near future. But right now, as of now, there is not enough kind of strong opposition party to like take over. Okay, so your question.
Yeah, so can they charge different amounts? Like obviously if you want a house that you can keep for 100 years, is that going to be a lot more expensive than one that only has 40 years?
Another good question, and after this we're going to move on, right? So what happens is that is exactly what's happening, because why? The government allowed us, the sellers, to set our price. Okay? So for example, I know that my flat over here is of a city area. And to share with you as well, a flat over here is more expensive compared to a flat that is going to be built in the 3 years time. For example, here in the city, market value could be at least almost $800 to $1 million depending. Right? In the same area of a newer flat could be maybe $100,000 to $100,000 lower. Okay, so what happens is that because we have the flexibility to set our price, that's when people make use of the market. Okay, and what happens is that now is the period that the houses are too expensive for Singaporeans like myself to go. And that is the problem you've already kind of foreseen. And that's the reason why now the government is coming in. And this is our period. That means it will cause higher interest rate, lower kind of loan that you can take to make sure seller have a harder time to sell the house, buyer have a harder time to buy a house, and make all the market value drop again. Yeah. And that's the reason why, like I said again, in terms of prices over here, okay, the government is still coming in to make sure that they can control to maintain the house. But on a like now period, last time what happened is that I can set the house at my value, but there is a valuation that I have to follow accordingly. So let's say my buyer is okay with the price that I set above the valuation that is set by the government, then I just pay extra money because I have the money to pay the seller. Yeah, but now the government is putting in to make sure that it's back to what we need to do for government. Because if not, our houses or government houses will be almost similar to private apartments, and then it's the purpose of what government. Okay? Right, so I'm going to continue the next part because why? The next section over here, I'm going to talk about the facilities.